Welcome to the deep dive. We're the place that, cuts through the noise, looks at all the sources, and pulls together the essential stuff you need to know. Today, we are diving deep into what feels like the central drama of the early NBA season, right? The timeline for LeBron James getting back on the court. Yeah, our sources lay out the whole picture, really, of his return. He was sidelined before the season even kicked off, and everything we're reading agrees on one thing. The question isn't if he's coming back. It's more like, when does the game, feel whole again? So our mission today is pretty straightforward. We're pulling together the latest medical updates, really looking at this specific injury. He's got sciatica, and trying to figure out the actual timeline for his return. And importantly, we want to connect that timeline to, well, his whole career, which is just unparalleled, and what his absence and then his return means for a Lakers team that's actually doing pretty well right now. Okay, let's unpack this.
Right. And I think to really get the complexity here, you have to start with the context of his career. I mean, LeBron James is 40 years old. He's walking into his 23rd NBA season. Our sources aren't just calling it uncharted territory. They're really emphasizing that nobody in any major sport has kept up this level of play, this dominance, for this long, into a third decade. It's not like he's just hanging on.
Yeah.
He's still a guy who commands major defensive attention. And that history, well, it completely changes how the team has to approach his recovery. They know they're dealing with something brand new in sports medicine.
And the thing that stopped this historic run right at the start of the season wasn't some simple tweak or, a muscle pull. It was this lingering sciatica in his right leg. It's a nerve issue. That just feels different fundamentally than a regular sprain or strain.
It is fundamentally different. That's really the key insight from the medical side. Sciatica basically stems from the sciatic nerve getting irritated or compressed. And that sends pain, could be sharp, could be this dull ache shooting down the leg. And that nerve, it's critical for pretty much all movement, balance, explosiveness, everything. And the sources really hammer this home. Sciatica just doesn't care for history or legacy. It flat out demands patience. So for a 40-year-old athlete, you need a recovery plan that's all about stability and letting that nerve calm down, not rushing things. You can stretch a muscle, sure, but you can't force a nerve to heal faster. For a player like LeBron, who's defined by controlling his body so precisely, and that incredible competitive fire, having to slow down because of a nerve issue, that's got to be, well, humbling and probably pretty mentally taxing. What's fascinating here is that internal conflict, right? You've got this athlete who, for 22 years, has basically dictated the terms of engagement on the basketball court, the pace, the championships, and now his own nervous system is calling the shots on his timeline. So the recovery isn't just physical rehab, it's about getting that delicate balance back in his core mechanics that the nerve issue threw off.
Well, it sounds like that patient path might be nearing its end because the team just announced something big. One source called it a flicker of light breaking through the tunnel.
Yeah.
The Lakers announced James has been cleared for contact basketball activity. That sounds like a huge step, the green light to start banging bodies again, even if it's controlled.
Oh, it's absolutely the biggest sign yet that the nerve problem itself has calmed down enough. But, we got to remember, this clearance didn't just happen out of the blue. For the past month, apparently, he's just been grinding quietly down at the team's facility in El Segundo. And this wasn't like highlight reel stuff. This was individual workouts. Really intense focus on rebuilding strength, getting his rhythm back, and maybe most crucially, making sure moderate stress doesn't flare up that nerve again.
Yeah, this stage is all about proving he's got the stable foundation needed before he can even think about the hits and just the chaos of a real NBA game. Okay, so controlled contact is cleared. What's the last big hurdle, the final gate, let's say, before we actually see him back in a Lakers uniform on game night?
The final hurdle, and honestly, probably the riskiest one from a re-injury standpoint, is full 5-on-5 practice. See, the difference between controlled drills, where, everyone kind of knows what's coming and the intensity is managed, and a real live 5-on-5 scrimmage, it's massive, especially when you're managing a back or a nerve thing. Full practice means explosive rotations, sudden stops and starts, unexpected contact, stuff you just can't perfectly replicate in individual work.
We actually have a pretty specific time frame for when they'll check if he's ready for that final step, right? Tied to the schedule.
We do. The team's medical staff, according to reports, will officially reevaluate him within a pretty firm window, 1 to 2 weeks. That's the time frame everyone's watching. So given where we are now, that evaluation period lines up almost perfectly with the Lakers getting back home in mid-November after they finish this upcoming road trip.
Right. And the immediate logistics seem clear, too. Lakers are about to head out on a big 5-game road trip, start Saturday in Atlanta, but LeBron's expected to stay back in LA the whole time to keep working.
Exactly. He stays put while the team travels, lets him just focus on ramping up the intensity with the medical staff, using the facilities without dealing with flights in different cities. It's a smart strategy. Allows him to progress on his own schedule. And Coach J.J. Redick, who's obviously plugged into all this, gave probably the strongest hint yet. He mentioned a return sometime in that second or third week of November, which, again, points directly towards the Lakers' next homestand. That starts November 18th. If you're a fan, that November 18th date is definitely one to circle. It seems like the target where the medical window and the team's schedule meet.
And the sources also brought up a kind of backup plan, didn't they? A way to get him some live action if he gets the medical all clear a bit before that November 18th game.
Yeah, there's sort of a practical alternative, maybe not the nuclear option, but a functional one. If he needs live reps sooner, the Lakers could send him down for some controlled runs with their G League team.
The South Bay Lakers.
That's the one. They play right there in El Segundo, where the Lakers' practice facility is, so it's convenient. It offers a way to get him game rhythm in a, let's say, lower pressure setting without the full glare and intensity of an NBA game right away. It's just a smart way to make sure his conditioning is absolutely spot on before he steps back into the main event.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me, though. Because the usual story is, team loses its superstar, things get tough. But the Lakers haven't just survived without LeBron. They've actually thrived. They're sitting at 7-2 right now, just won their 5th straight game. They look deep. They look like they've evolved.
They absolutely have. And how they're winning really shows the difference his absence makes. Sources point out their pace is way up. They're leaning more on the speed of guys like D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves. Their defense has been solid. Ball movement's efficient. The roster has evolved, like you said. They had to. They found a way to win, playing a faster, maybe less centralized style of ball.
So that leads to the big question, doesn't it? If the team is winning, playing well, 7-2, why is LeBron's presence still described as irreplaceable?
It's irreplaceable because what the league misses, what basketball misses, isn't just his points or assists. It's the intellectual gravity he brings to the game. The successful 7-2 Lakers team, they're playing fast, maybe a bit more reactionary. LeBron plays chess. He's the master of controlling the tempo, orchestrating everything. He sees pressure coming before anyone else does. He knows exactly when to slow things down to a grind and precisely when to step up and deliver the knockout blow. As one source put it, no amount of team chemistry can replicate that ability of one guy to turn these critical, maybe even ordinary-looking moments into monuments. That control, that situational genius, that's what the sport itself is missing when he's out. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, look, this isn't about LeBron coming back to save a struggling team. Not this year. It's about integrating maybe the smartest player ever back into a system that's already working pretty well. The challenge changes. It's not win without him. It's how do we have perfect winning with him? How do you merge these two successful but kind of different styles? That transition, that's going to be fascinating.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, trying to follow this whole thing?
Well, based on everything, him getting cleared for contact, that specific 1 to 2 week reevaluation window, Coach Redick's comments lining up with the schedule, the conclusion feels pretty solid now. All the signs are definitively pointing towards a mid to late November return. We're really looking at that time frame around the November 18th homestand as the most likely target.
Yeah, and what really strikes me here is just the enduring power of his presence 23 seasons in, all the miles, all the records, the rings, and still the entire game just sort of pauses and waits for him. The sources capture it well whenever he does step back out there. The building is going to buzz like it's the first time all over again. That feeling, that anticipation that things aren't quite complete until he's back, that might be the biggest testament to his career, really.
Absolutely. And maybe here's a provocative thought to leave you with as we wrap this up. This Lakers team, the 7-2 team, they've found a rhythm. They've learned to fly without their main pilot, right? So how does that dynamic shift when that irreplaceable presence, the guy who dictates everything, steps back onto the floor? Is it just a seamless upgrade? Or does a team that found success playing one way have to kind of unlearn some things temporarily to fit their king back on the throne? Definitely something critical to think about as we wait for that mid-November return.